All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the picture that you are looking at is that of one Mr. Daniel Chase, a 45-year-old licensed massage bodywork therapist here in Goldsboro, North Carolina. Mr. Chase, as you've seen the mugshot there, has recently been charged with sexual assaulting three women who were patrons of the Goldsboro Spinal Center here in Goldsboro, North Carolina. And the reason I said sexual assaulting or assault because for some reason YouTube doesn't allow, or frowns upon people using terms that deal with sexual assault or even R. They say the R word, and we all know what that R word is. However, the man that you saw, as I mentioned, he's a licensed massage bodywork therapist. Now, one lady came out, the allegations began as early as January the 3rd of this year, 20 days ago, when a woman claimed that she was sexually assaulted by Mr. Chase in his duties performing massage therapy work at the Goldsboro Spinal Center. Now, one day after that, a second woman stepped forth and also detailed her experience with being sexually assaulted by Mr. Chase. Now, after those allegations emerged, an investigation was then commenced by the Goldsboro Police Department. And during the throes of that investigation, yet another alleged victim, came forward with her experiences and therefore making it a total of 3 allegations of sexual assault that has been alleged or assigned to Mr. Daniel Chase. Now, Daniel Chase is a resident here of Pikeville, North Carolina, which is an outskirt of the city of Goldsboro. But we must note that he is not a direct employee of the Goldsboro Spine Center. He is actually a contractor with the Goldsboro Spine Center. Now, he's an independent contractor, which means, of course, I assume that Goldsboro Spine Center vetted him in his application to work with them, but he is not a direct employee of the Spine Center. Now, all 3 of these women are of ages, let me double check, 21 to 35 years of age. Now, Mr. Chase is not a chiropractor. Now, the chiropractor deals with spinal readjustments, spinal electromagnetism and all of those things that do with the spine. So, evidently, Mr. Chase was a massage therapist. And once again, it says licensed massage bodywork therapist. And so he was probably tasked with giving the patients a massage. Now, I don't know if this was supposed to be a full body massage or whatever the case may be. But I assume if you're dealing with the chiropractor, they're probably going to be massaging your legs, your back, maybe even your hips, your back, your upper back, your shoulders, maybe even your buttocks. I don't know. I've never had a full body massage as it relates to having services performed at a chiropractor. But yet and still, the exact charges that Mr. Chase was charged with 3 counts of second-degree forcible S offense. If you're with me, second-degree forcible S offense. Now, I had to Google the exact tenets of that charge. Like, what actually makes it second-degree forcible S offense? Now, the North Carolina General Statute 14-27.27 defines second-degree forcible S offense as when a person engages in a S act with another person by force or against the will of another person. Or the second tenet says when a person engages in S act with another person who has a mental disability or who is mentally incapacitated or physically helpless, and the perfect person performing the act knows or should know that this S action is not agreed upon or is not warranted. So once again, it's still kind of murky to me what exactly Mr. Chase could have done in this manner. Now, one actual victim, I'm going to read her testimony as she describes her offense. But of course, like there has to be some sort of yellow line or grayish line, because if someone's massaging you, you know, and it gets to that point where he may be around some areas that could be more sensitive or sexual in nature than others, then, you know, well, did he stay too far along that area or the buttock region or whatever? Or maybe he, you know, and this is, once again, this is my speculation. I'm trying to figure out, you know, where that line was crossed. You know, maybe he, you know, went for the shoulders and, you know, maybe started to caress the breast of these ladies. And once again, I don't know. Or maybe he, you know, spread the buttocks out too far. You know, or, you know, maybe slipped the finger in somewhere it had no business going. I don't know. But this is just, once again, my trying to decipher how could a forcible, actually, sexual act occur in that manner. Now, I'm going to tell you my own experience just by going over this story, how I'm thinking in my mind, what dag was I sexually assaulted by a chiropractor once. And I'm going to tell you that in the end. But let me read you this lady's account here. Now, one lady says that I have been having a difficult time sleeping because I just go over it over and over again, said the woman, who is unnamed because of, you know, she says she's the victim of this S assault. The woman said the first red flag was an aggressive touch. Now, mind you, once again, I thought masseuse, you know, give you a firm, you know, a firm touch. Now, once again, I'm not advocating or I'm not caping for this guy. Once again, I'm trying to, you know, as probably a lot of people, you know, feel like, okay, at what point does a sexual massage turn into sexual assault? I think that's a valid, not a sexual massage, but a, you know, a body massage turning into sexual assault. I think that is a very valid question to be asked here. However, this lady says, I turned over onto my stomach and then he reached around and was still aggressively rubbing that left hip. Now, I don't know. Maybe the hip was the one who may have had some issues. You know, maybe that was what she was, you know, going to the chiropractor for. But evidently, this lady felt that, you know, he was spending a little time on that left hip. And as we know, the hips are pretty much connected to the buttocks, which, you know, a lot of people, men and women, feel like that is a sexual part of the body. But let's continue here. She said from there, he says he touched her inappropriately. Now, once again, that is relative, I guess, to the person being touched because, some would consider a massage on the thighs or the legs an inappropriate touch, right? But of course, in the duties of a massage therapist, those are things that, I guess they do. Now, once again, I'm not a therapist. I don't play one on TV. I don't go get full body massages, especially by men. If I probably get one, more than likely it's going to be by a woman. But nevertheless, the lady said that she panicked. Like, did that really just happen? And then she told him, I told him it's not okay. Now, once she said that, the boundaries are crossed. Like if he's rubbing her thighs, her hips, her legs, soon as she, makes that statement, it's not okay, he was supposed to stop, or he should have known, well, Dad, I didn't mean to do that, or let me explain, or whatever the case may be. Evidently he didn't, and that's where these allegations come from. Now, of course, the owners of the Goldsboro Spine Center did not provide a statement. But once again, this is where these matters get kind of murky, because he says, okay, they didn't provide a statement, but Chase is suspended and has not seen any other patients since they became aware of the allegations. Now, I don't know if they're not taking these allegations as serious as I would, because there would be no suspension. There would be some, you put our business in danger. That he's put this business in danger of civil suits, criminal suits, and the like. So the lady continues on, says it's important to come forward with things like this. She said, I've even told my older children about this situation. That is something that you should be able to talk about. It's not something you should hide. That's how we stop it, by talking about it. And that is exactly true. Don't wait until, 10 or 15 years down the line, because then, of course, you always have that aspect of disbelief, which may be warranted, but also should not be validated, because you never know when someone feels violated, or when they have the courage to talk about these type of instances. Because I know this is a very difficult and sensitive subject. But nevertheless, Daniel Chase, I guess there was enough evidence that was brought forth to charge him with these 3 counts of assault. Daniel Chase allegedly turned himself in yesterday, on January the 22nd. And once again, in my opinion, I think that the bond that he received, which was only $25,000, is extremely low, in my assertion. Nevertheless, with 3 counts of, and I assume these are felony offenses. 20 people get a $25,000 bond. That's peanuts. That's $2,500 if you know the right bondsman, and $3,750 if you don't. Nevertheless, with this guy, and as some people has pointed out to me, they were just like, well, look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. He did it, and everybody is assumed innocent until proven guilty, but there's just something about those eyes. One is higher than the other, it looks like. One is a little, baggier than the other. And just the, he does honestly have a sort of a creepish look to him. And once again, I'm not convicting this guy. I don't know. And being one who has been falsely accused of S offense, I know how, once again, that line is very, very thin. And that's why, I definitely want to try to give this guy a benefit of the doubt. But, when 3 people are coming out and saying the same thing within a short period of time, then you must pay attention and give it credence. Nevertheless, he was taken to the Wayne County Jail, where he was given that $2,500 secure bond. And he is currently awaiting, I guess, an arraignment. So um, those are the details that we have thus far. And once again, this is, because probably, and I'm going to tell you an incident of myself, right? So it's like 2008, 2009, I'm in Virginia. Somebody rear-ended me from the back, I won't get into all the details, but, I was quote unquote injured, right? So, I got the letters from the lawyer. I go to the lawyer's office and things, they said, well, yeah, go to this chiropractor, and everybody knows, I wouldn't say the scam, I would say the process. You get in an accident, you get injured, you go to the chiropractor, you go to the doctor, you go to some appointments. A year and a half later, you get a little settlement check, right? Boom, that's how it goes, right? So I'm going to this doctor, and I'll say his name, Dr. Sloan, right? So every 3 times a week I'm going to this doctor. And so one particular instance, you hold your leg up and he twists you around, he cracks your back, and he comes behind you and he gets your neck and he pushes your neck or whatever. So like this one time I just noticed that, once he had my leg lifted up and crossed me over and pushed me down and crack out. And then, he gave me a little tap like, tap, tap, okay, all right, go ahead, good, I'm going to see you next time. And he tapped me, like on my hip region, almost on my buttocks, right? And he did it so subtly that I'm like, this dude just, kind of filled me up on the low, So I just like, well, I ain't gonna say nothing, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to cause no trouble because once again, just like the lady said, it was shocking. Now this older white man, and he did walk around kind of gingerly, like, oh, hey, how you doing? And stuff like that, but I never paid attention until, I noticed it again. He crack, 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 pap, pap. All right, guys, see you next time. I'm like, oh, man, like what? So I think eventually I had to tell him, like, yo, man, what, I don't even remember, but I know it stopped, whatever it was. But I say that to say that these kind of touches, like I said, I think, matter of fact, let me get me a lawyer. There's no statute of limitations, right? I can go up here and talk to Mr. Sloan. And yeah, man, I didn't like the way you patted me on my butt a couple of times after you finished, chiropractoring me. Or whatever you might, after you finish cracking my back. Pause. That don't sound good neither. But, nevertheless, that is an incident that I had that could be considered, I guess, sexual assault. So, we're going to keep an eye out on these things. And, of course, if there's been any other ladies who have experienced this thing, feel free to come out, because evidently this has been a tactic. This has been a method that this guy has probably been operating since, I think they said he has been licensed. Let me check the information. He has been licensed since 2019, if I'm not mistaken. He has been licensed as a LMBT. Yep, LMBT, licensed massage bodywork therapist, since 2019. So there's no telling maybe how many other women who may have these particular complaints about Mr. Chase's services. Now, anybody knows sexual assault and are 2 of the lowest crimes known to men, and most of the times, when you get charged with those crimes, if you go to a hardened prison, with guys who are never getting out and, like that type of play, it's a lot of times that those guys are the ones who get sexually assaulted and AR'd in those surroundings. So, I pray that this man, maybe did not do these things, and his actions as a massage bodywork therapist were taken out of context, or and if he did do these things, then my prayers goes out to the 3 ladies who once again have to live with this type of behavior or this type of offense against their bodies which should not have been. But if anybody has any more information regarding this story, feel free to call me 919-587-7782. Richard Taylor, Taylor House Publishing. Peace and blessings.